Hey up guys! So today's movie I'm discussing on the channel is the long-awaited sequel in Sony's Spider-Man animated franchise. The last one we got was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse that came out in 2018, and now 5 years later we've got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which sees Miles Morales, once again voiced by Shameik, traveling through the multiverse where he teams up with an elite group of spider people who are tasked with protecting the very existence of the multiverse. But when a new threat emerges and they clash on how they need to deal with this threat, Miles must then redefine what it means to be a hero. This movie is spectacular. Believe the hype. It is a marvelous accomplishment in the world of animation. I don't feel like I can go into too much detail about this film because so much of it feels like spoilery to me. So I'll just say this. Go see it. The story is richer than the first. Yes, it is addressing about what it means to be Spider-Man. It's not like we haven't really seen that done before, but this film finds a fresh take on it. It addresses the sacrifice and the responsibility that comes by being Spider-Man. When Miles Morales ends up in the multiverse with Gwen Stacy, he is faced with an impossible choice. And this provides the film with a catalyst for one of the most exciting, imaginative, and eye-popping action set piece I have ever seen in any film ever. And you feel what's at stake because the film does such a good job of getting you invested in the characters. So much of the screen time is dedicated to smaller intimate scenes with Miles and his parents. I can't stress enough how authentic the dynamics of this family feel. It provides the film with buckets of emotionality. There's also lots of humor, some absolutely genius cutaways. The soundtrack slaps, and the same can be said about Daniel Pemberton's score. The voice work was wicked. A shout out to Shameik, Haley Steinfeld, Brian Tyree Henry, and Luren Velex for once again embodying these characters, giving them so much nuance and emotion and humanity. There's also some delightful new additions to the voice cast, such as Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara, Daniel Kaluuya as Spider-Punk, Karen Sonny as Indian Spider-Man, and Jason Schwartzman as the take me seriously villain, the Spot. So like a good sequel does, it expands on the story as well as the characters. Like, it gives actual character growth for Gwen and Miles and his parents. The animation is breathtaking. It's a sensory overload of colors, textures, layers, and styles. The only limits are the animator's imagination, okay? This is next level. Then there's the references, cameos, and Easter eggs. You could watch this movie 20 times at the cinema and still not catch everything that there is to see. There's so much going on in any given frame that your eye doesn't always know where to look. So it's the type of movie that demands multiple viewings. Part of me does think the movie is relying a bit too heavily on cameos and references. It's very MCU in that sense, and if you're in on it and you're a fan of Spider-Man, then yeah, this is gonna be an absolute wet dream for you. But if you're just a casual viewer, a lot of the references I think will be lost on you. They were for me. And while I was blown away by this film, I still did have a few negatives. Like, for instance, because there is so much going on during the action set pieces, and a lot of it's very fast and frantic. There was a lot to absorb, and some of the sequences are an absolute sugar rush, so I definitely didn't get all of it on the first viewing. And while the film starts and ends so strongly, I did find there was a section in the middle which I found a little bit too baggy. Now don't get me wrong, I'm all for taking a breath and letting the characters develop, having quieter, tender moments. This is what happens in the middle, okay? But part of me feels like it just went on a little bit too long. I was starting to like nod off, I was starting to lose interest, and I was just like, oh, I want to get back to something a little bit more exciting. I feel like it was just a little bit too long, so I feel like they could have found a way to maybe trim it down slightly. But God, that ending, I mean, talk about leaving an audience wanting more. Like, not since like Infinity War have I been so hungry to see more of the story. Like, where it leaves us is just, my jaw was on the floor. I actually screamed at the screen. I was like, no! Here? You're leaving us here? But yeah, Beyond the Spider-Verse, can't get here quick enough. The good news is you don't have to wait 5 years for the next film. It's coming out next year. Shall we talk about its Oscars chances? Gonna say now, this is an absolute lock for Best Animated Feature and probably stands a decent chance of winning it. Like, it's gonna be a very tough year for animation this year, guys. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a legit contender to win because it's elevating and pushing the boundaries of what animation can do. Do I think it can get any other Oscar nominations though? Probably not, but if it was up to me, this film would be nominated for editing and production design. But yeah, the Academy never nominates animated movies for those things, but they really should. And as for Daniel Pemberton's score, as much as I would love to see him nominated for a score, the music of the film is very soundtrack heavy. It's more songs than it is score. So I feel like that might hurt its chances of being nominated for score. But what do you guys think? Any Oscar nominations for Across the Spider-Verse? So let's ask the 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch it again? Definitely. Multiple viewings are needed for a film like this. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? I recommend this for everyone. Like, prepared to be dazzled by some of the most glorious animation you'll ever witness at the cinema. It's one of the most exciting, visually stimulating films I've seen in years. And yes, it is an action-packed film, but it also tells a very emotive story, and there's also lots of humor in it as well. So yes, it's an easy recommendation. And third question, what score do I give it out of 10? From what I can gather from film Twitter, it seems the consensus online is that this is a superior sequel to Into the Spider-Verse. Personally, I think Into the Spider-Verse had a tighter story and was just more game-changing at the time. Like, it was revolutionary when we first saw Into the Spider-Verse, whereas this builds upon what we saw in Into the Spider-Verse. So it's not as game-changing, but it's still so impressive and such an amazing fun watch. So yeah, I do think I prefer Into the Spider-Verse, but this is still a top-notch sequel. So I'm gonna give Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse a score of 9 out of 10. But as always, guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. I would love to hear from you. Have you seen Across the Spider-Verse? If you have, what did you make of it? Which film do you prefer? And are you excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse? What do you have to say about these movies? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, help me out with the little thumbs up button. If you want more movie, TV, and Oscars-related content, don't forget to click subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching, guys. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Hearfield, and I'll see you next time. The popcorn didn't even come out!